HMRC has now got the power to take money directly from your bank account if you owe them. No court hearing, just a raid on your bank account. And the power is known as a direct recovery of debt. It was first introduced back in 2015 and it got paused during COVID. Now it's back. So if you owe them over £1,000 in tax and you ignore them, they can simply lift the money out of your bank account. Ouch, very scary stuff. So let's talk about how the direct recovery of debt actually works. So it applies to anyone, business or personal, who owes £1,000 or more in unpaid tax. Could be VAT corporation tax, PAYE, self-assessment, and it's going to target a whole host of different people, self-employed, landlords, and those with incomes from investments or second properties. Now, the process is the revenue have got to visit you first to confirm the debt and discuss a repayment, okay? So they're going to give you offers to pay, they're going to offer something called a time to pay arrangement, where you are able to pay debts over an extended period of time, and then you can go through a 30-day appeal window if you don't agree with what they're saying, and HMRC have got to leave you with at least £5,000 in your account for general expenses, okay? Vulnerable taxpayers are excluded. So you might be listening and going, oh, well, there are some safeguards, but listen, the reality is, once HMRC come in knocking, and you're in deep arrears, well, your options are fairly limited. Okay, this isn't a good news story. And the reason why HMRC are doing this is they're sitting on over £40 billion worth of unpaid tax debt. That was as of March 2025. That is more than double of what it was before COVID. And the government wants to try and claw back at least 11 billion of this by 2030. So they've pumped in about £630 million into it. So over £300 million is for the recruitment and retention of staff. There are more people out there knocking doors than ever before. They've also got around 90 million for partnerships with private debt collectors. They've spent 150 million on modernising the systems and 12 million to access credit reference data. What all this means is HMRC now has the budget, the people and the tech to chase harder than ever. It's not a token effort, it is a full-scale offensive. And I am seeing this day in, day out. We've never had more calls about HMRC being really aggressive on the doorstep. Where's the money? Where's the money? On the phone. If they're not getting stuff, they're going back there with bailiffs, with enforcement agents, as winding up petitions that are happening more than ever before. Now this gives you a lot of risk as a director, because if you're running a business, having HMRC take money straight out of your business account will kill your cash flow. You know, imagine you've got payroll next week and the revenue take 10 grand on Wednesday and you're not going to be able to pay people on the Friday. And it's not just businesses, you know, personal accounts are going to be targeted. You know, apparently ICE is a fair game. So this is going to put everybody in a real tight spot. Now, I touched on it earlier, but I'm seeing more field force visits from HMRC than ever before. And what's the problem is directors, the panicking and the signing up to unrealistic time to pay deals just to get offices out of the business. Now, the danger is those that when you make an agreement and you break it, then HMRC under these new powers can just recover the debt directly. So you've got to be careful if you've got someone in your business premises. I know how tempting it is to go, I'll agree to anything to get you out of here. But you've got to be careful before you start agreeing to unrealistic times to pay arrangements with HMRC, okay? So what I'm going to tell you to do now is what you should be doing instead. First of all, stop ignoring the brown letters, okay? Ignoring letters doesn't buy you time, it escalates enforcement. Because what they're seeing is someone who's not complying, and you just go from this stage to this stage to this stage. The key is speaking to them, right? So let's talk about forecasting cash flow, because I believe you should do this before you speak to HMRC. If you do a cash flow forecast, and on the basic level, it's what have you got going in, or you think you've got coming in, what have you got going out, and what have you got left? And when you find out what you got left, you can speak to them about what you can realistically pay them. Do not agree to time to pay deals that you cannot sustain. It kicks the can down the road and it's going to show you in a bad light when it evidently fails, okay? Listen, step 3, separate funds when they come in. Your VAT isn't yours, okay? That money, this is the best thing that you can be doing. If you bank with someone like Starling, right? What we do is we have these spaces. So when we've got a VAT space, a corporation tax space. So when money comes in, let's say £1,000 comes in, I think we put 20%, we put the VAT away straight away. We put 200 quid in a separate account. And every 3 months, when Nadina says, Chris, this is how much the VAT you've got to pay, I've got more in that pot than I need to pay HMRC. So it's like a little bonus back into the cash flow at the end of 3 months. I mean, speak to your own accountant or finance team before you start sticking 20% away, because you might get away with sticking less than 20% away, because remember, you've got VAT to claim back. But on that £1,000 invoice, we put £200 away in a corporation tax account. Now, our corporation tax, because we make more than 250,000 a year, is 25%. So I know at the end of the year, I have got to have that corporation tax ready to pay HMRC. So I take it out at source. And if you do this and you realise you're dipping in to those spaces or pots that you shouldn't, step 4 is seek advice. If you negotiate with HMRC up front, okay, once they're threatening with you, you've got more room to manoeuvre. Don't wait till they're on your doorstep. Pick the phone up to them. Tell them what's going on. Go to them with a plan. Remember, in most insolvencies, HMRC don't get anything or very little. So they will work with you. You're in a better position than you think. Now, I hope that you found stuff like this useful. Because the reality is HMRC can now take money directly from you, okay, if you owe them more than £1,000 and you ignore them. They've got over £40 billion worth of debt to chase, 2,400 new staff to do it, and billions in government funding behind them. If you think you can hide from HMRC in 2025, you are dead wrong. The powers are real and they are being used. So, if you are a UK director who is under pressure from HMRC right now, do not wait for them to knock on the door or for the money to vanish from your account. Contact us at Director First today. We'll help you negotiate. We'll help you understand your options. We'll help you understand what your non-insolvency options are. And that's a time to pay arrangement. And it's sort of going through with them and going, right, I know I can't pay my VAT, I know I can't pay my corporation tax, I know I can't pay my PAYE. I've got all my returns up to date. And based on the cash flow of my business, I'm willing to offer you this amount over this period of time. You could get up to 3 years. Like genuinely, you could get up to 3 years with HMRC if you've got a good compliance history and you're going with them with a good argument as to why you couldn't pay and the cash flow to support how much you can pay going forward. I'll tell you a crazy time to pay arrangement. And it's honestly, I don't think many people will get this, but there was a guy, should have really put it into liquidation. He says, Chris, I don't want to liquidate. And he owed the revenue about 40 grand. And he says, but I'm paying this he says, I just do not want an insolvency against my name. And that's fair place to him, you know. He says, that's my only debt. He says, I'm willing to pay them. And I said, how much can you afford to pay? He says, 200 quid a month. And I think it's about 25 years. Let me just do it. I forget the exact number. What is it? 40,000 divided by 200 quid. Right. 40,000 divided by 200. Yeah, it's 200. So I said, go and ask him. Basically, can you pay 200 quid for 200 months? Okay. 200 quid for 200 months. What do you think they said? They accepted it. He got I think it's like a 20-year time to pay. And what were the other option? The other option was if they said no, they were going to get nothing and they'd liquidated. Now, I'm not saying anyone's going to get that. I think that was a unicorn. But it does give you some hope, okay? Now, if the informal option isn't working, if your business has got no hope of recovery, we'll talk to you about the insolvency options. We'll talk to you about liquidation. We'll talk to you about administration. We'll talk to you about a CVA. But we'll help you. And we'll help you hopefully avoid the worst outcomes. So, if you're behind with HMRC, pick the phone up to us today. And guess what? Go over there on that video. That video is going to tell you everything you need to know about setting up a time to pay arrangement with HMRC. What to do, what not to do, absolutely everything. You go and watch the video, you'll be an expert in time to pay at the end of it. Thank you for your time, Chris Worden. Bye-bye.